The gun registry, what the government is doing with the gun registry is putting in place a much more efficient way, for Canadians to voluntarily return prohibited firearms, for fair compensation. This government is going to do it right.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
But his own Minister of Public Safety says this government is doing it wrong. He was caught on tape saying the program won't work, and yet they are going to rip $750 million away from our border and police services to harass duck hunters and farmers by banning the firearms they use. This approach has led to a 130% increase in gun crime under the Liberals' watch. The police say they won't implement it. The minister says it's a bad idea, but they're only doing it for political reasons. Why is the Prime Minister putting lives at risk for politics?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
So what I'm talking about right now is the Canada Buyback program, which you guys are going to learn a little bit about right now. But I'm going to talk to you about why I believe this is just a senseless, useless program that they're implementing with the government for some reason. I'm going to let you listen to a little bit more, and then I'm going to give you some reasons as to why I believe this is just a waste of complete time in the first place.
Mr. Speaker, I don't even know where to begin with that.
That's right.
First off, I don't know where to begin because of all the misrepresentations in that intervention. The person who's putting lives at risk is the Leader of the Opposition who's voted against every single piece of gun legislation. What the Minister of Public Safety is doing it right. He's correcting an inefficient system to provide Canadians with fair...
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, I voted against the Liberal policy of reducing criminal sentences for those who use guns to commit extortion, to commit robbery, and to commit other serious offenses, while voting in favor of locking up criminals who use guns in the commission of crime. The police say that 90% of crime is done with guns that come illegally over the broken Liberal border. The Liberal Public Safety Minister admits that the Prime Minister is only playing politics. Will the Prime Minister stop the politics, fire the minister, and leave Grandpa Joe's hunting rifle alone?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, I will have too little time to address all the issues, but let me go back to something the Leader of the Opposition said, which he described farmers, duck hunters using AR-15s to hunt. I don't see that. I don't see that in my great province of Alberta. I also know that what the Minister of Public Safety and this government are doing is tightening the border. Bill C2, will the opposition stand up and support the tightening of the border?
Good question.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And the Prime Minister just admitted that he doesn't even know what his gun ban applies to. For example, this gun ban applies to 10 and 12 gauge shotguns, which are used by the great people of Alberta and all Canadians for duck hunting. It applies to 70 22 caliber firearms that are used by almost every farmer to go after gophers. Will the Prime Minister stop wasting money banning gopher guns, read his briefing notes so that he knows what he's talking about, and fire that incompetent minister?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I don't think you need to necessarily fire the public safety minister. You should probably just listen to him, and I'll get into that in just a minute.
Mr. Speaker,
Let's speed it up here.
illegal assault rifles, and what this government is doing is proposing the biggest tightening of our border in our nation's history. We want the support of the opposition to make sure that happens.
That's a very good point.
The Right Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And he has absolutely no idea what guns he's banning, Mr. Speaker. He's banning 22s. These are known as farmers' guns to go after gophers and other pests. One of them is even called the plinkster because that's the sound it makes when it bounces off a pop can. The Prime Minister is wasting precious border and police resources, harassing farmers, banning duck hunters, when real gun crime rages in our streets. Once again, will he pick up a briefing note so that he knows what he's talking about and go after the real criminals?
Okay, so a few things that I want to discuss in regards to what these guys are talking about right now, Prime Minister Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre. Now, it's kind of weird to me why they call it the Buyback, Canada Buyback program, because the government never owned these weapons in the first place. So I don't know how you can buy them back. That doesn't make any sense to me. And you're selling them back to the government now, and the government says they're going to pay you a decent amount. You're never going to get paid the same amount for what you actually got for these firearms. They're going to pay you probably substantially less. And so there's absolutely no point in I mean, yes, you can give it back, but are you voluntarily going to do that at a lesser price? You're probably not going to do that. Target criminals, in my opinion. Target criminals, not the legal gun owners. The legal firearm owners, that's not where the issues are here. The people who are committing these crimes with guns are not the legal firearm owners in this country. Okay, now, even when you look at places like Alberta, the Saskatchewan government, they have already informed to their law enforcement that they're not even going to be a part of this. There's no point in being a part of this because it's just not going to work. And so don't even waste your time and your resources. And how do you know who have these guns? The government doesn't know who owns these guns. They were all legal at the time when they were purchased. And now you've made them illegal. And you're pretty much saying that you either sell them back or sell them to the government. Like I said, they never own them in the first place. So you can't sell it back to them. It's now you want to turn them over to them and we'll give you, a fraction of what you paid for it, or they're already banned. And so if you own these guns and they're banned, now you're a criminal. Is that really how this thing is going to work? That'd be a little bit strange. But like I mentioned to you, Alberta, Saskatchewan have already informed their police and RCMP they're not going to be even wasting their time doing this because they don't have the resources for it. You don't have the resources to get this thing done. And you want to spend $750 million, close to $1 billion of taxpayers' money to do this when your Minister of Public Safety, Gary Anandar Sangari, I hope I said that right, was already caught on tape saying there's no way in hell that it's going to work. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am not making that up. Look it up for yourself. The Minister of Public Safety was caught on tape saying this is useless and it is not going to work. And the reason I said before, what is the point in firing him? Maybe Prime Minister Mark Carney should just listen to him. Maybe you just listen to him. It would probably be easier. Save you a hell of a lot of money at the same time if you know it's a waste of time and it won't work. So why go through with it in the first place? Why go through with this in the first place? Now, I'm hearing a lot about Quebec has something to do with this. This ain't about public safety. This is about politics. And this has to do in regards to something with Quebec. And I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this in the near future and give you an update about this, but I know that it does. And so we're going to get back to that in the near future. But why not put that money, like they're saying, into the border? If all of these guns, the large majority, over 80% of the illegal firearms are coming into this country through the border, and the weapons that the criminals are using to commit these crimes are using those illegal firearms coming through the border, why not use that $750 million to help patrol and keep the border under control to keep the guns out? Doesn't that make a little bit more sense? I would think that it does. Because how many times have we turned on the news and heard that the issues have been from law-abiding, legal firearms owners? How many times have we heard that? I don't think we have. And I'm not saying something can't happen. It's just not likely to. If we're looking at the numbers, well, then there's really nothing to look at. The firearms owners that are legal and law-abiding citizens don't have an issue committing crimes with those weapons. The criminals, on the other hand, do. So, folks, this really is about politics. And if you're listening to this right now, search this topic and find out why Quebec is so big on this. That's the part we got to figure out. Now, you may have heard some rumblings about this on the surface, but it goes deeper than that. And I'm going to search, give you an update, and figure this thing out. This is the Mike Roach Podcast. I'll be back again soon, and I'm out.